When it comes to spiders, I know they get a bad rap, but they freak the heck out of me. 8 legs, 8 eyes, all that fur.
You 8-legged freaks!
On them, you know, and if you think about them being big, you probably, like a lot of people, have arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia. 8 legs, 2 fangs, and an attitude.
Arachnophobia is one of the scariest films I've ever seen. It might be the scariest PG to have ever lived. Like Watership Down is the most depressing PG.
Terrible thing is coming.
What do you mean?
The field. It's covered with blood.
Arachnophobia, for me, always scares the crap out of me.
Just hold on a second, because you. I just shit my pants.
And they're remaking that. So when I heard there was a new film, Sting, I thought, yeah, I morbidly want to watch that because it's going to scare the crap out of me. So I think that's why people watch horrors, to enjoy the scariness rather than jump scares, but a good story, and then have like an unbelievable premise be real in the world today. What if you had a spider that grew and wanted to kill everybody? And that's kind of what you get here, but is it worth your while? Let's talk about it. After raising an unnervingly talented spider in secret, 12-year-old Charlotte must face the facts about her pet and fight for her family's survival when the once charming creature rapidly transforms into a giant flesh-eating monster. This film comes out in a couple of weeks in the UK, it's early May, and it's been out for a couple of weeks already in the US. I like the second half of this film. It suffers from a little bit of an identity crisis. It kind of goes in many tangents rather than keeping to, oh, this is the spider horror verse that we want to create here. Maybe because if we really embraced the theme that we were going for of spider horror, that it would knock it out of the park. But for me, the second half is where it really stood on its legs. I went, yeah, this is what we sold you in the trailer, and this is what you got. The first half is like a family drama. It's building up to the horror vibes of the film, but the first half is like an estranged family unit, a daughter that has lost her father. He's not dead, he's just not around. We have the step dad who's trying to be a dad and trying to build a relationship with the young daughter, and the wife trying to juggle jobs. He's trying to juggle jobs. They're trying to make money, and it's a good 45 minutes of building the sort of the characters. And I think what they were trying to do, and definitely what they were trying to do, is make you care about the characters so that when they are put in danger, I guess you care enough to be invested, and when the scariness comes, you're like, oh no, who's going to survive? Problem is, it just didn't feel like that. It felt like two separate films. So although what you got in the first 45 minutes was fine, by the time we got to the horror, I was just like, finally. Because what we're sold in the trailer is something similar to the craziness of, let's say, 8-legged freaks or arachnophobia. That's the film that we're sold. So even arachnophobia has building and settles into the family unit, but all the while it's always kind of showing us what craziness is going on in the background, the setup. So we have that here, the setup, but then it kind of, the spider ends up being pet, and you do know that from the outset to put believability to a side because of what they establish at the beginning of this film. Had they had more scenes like that, I think by the time we got to that second half, you would be way more invested, and I think this film would be getting higher marks. However, when we do get to that second half, it is a lot of fun. The prosthetics, the look of the spider, what it does, how it attacks, when it attacks, the using of vents. I don't know what it is with movies. It feels like every vent in America is big enough for people to crawl through, or spiders.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
That are giant to crawl through. But the spider's name is Sting, so named after, I believe, Lord of the Rings.
I can't take this.
Sword or small dagger, because it's not as big as a sword, which is why it was so named Sting. And obviously that seems like an apt name for Sting. So Sting is intelligent, let's say that, and the way it looks, the way it reacts, the noises it makes, all creates this tension that with the camera uses, the angles that they show through the vents, the crawling, similar to like the Evil Dead, you know, that on the floor going towards the tree, like whoa, you know, that sort of effect, I think it works really well. The claustrophobia of the vents linking from one apartment to another, and then you have those moments when Sting does manage to get its prey or grow some more. Or I think even with this horror, they embrace the gore sometimes, but they wanted to make it more, I guess, a wider release for a younger generation, so they didn't make it hard R. So it reached that 15 rate here in the UK, but didn't quite go, yeah, we're just really gonna make it gory. Had they made that next step up, I think it would have been a lot more fun. They're crazy, but not crazy enough. Does that make sense? I had fun with this. I enjoyed it as a one-time watch, but it's not going to be something that I will repeat and go back to going, oh yeah, that really scared me. There were some fun parts, and I could see the ending coming a mile off. Like, you know exactly what's going to happen. I would definitely go back and watch Eight-Legged Freaks. Even though that film is aged, the craziness of the spider, the variations of that film is a lot of fun. There's comedy in that film that is crazy. And then for the horror, the arachnophobia, I would go and watch. I think there's a new spider film coming out called Infested that Movies and Munchies put me onto that I want to have a look at. But I'm still gonna give this. I want to give it a 3. I don't know if it quite deserves a 3. It might be down the half, a 2.5. But I did really have fun with that second half. And I liked some of the ballsiness of what they did with the spider and the goriness. So I'm going to give it a 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
Let me know what you think about this film. Are you going to watch it when it comes out in the UK cinemas in a couple of weeks? Thanks so much for watching. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.